all set with that. So once we get this Facebook stream going, we are good to go. Awesome. All right. Thanks, Joanne. All right, cool. We got this recording, so we are good to go. I'm gonna just put my screen up as well so we can have that shared. And yeah, today was going over Google Business. Oh, I think the actual class is called Virtual Business Basics, and it's essentially going to be covering the Google Business page. So I have my screen shared right now, so you should be able to see that. And essentially with Google, if you haven't already created one, so Google has what they're calling a business listing. So essentially what you can do is set up, if you ever done like a search for somebody, like I'll use Zohar as an example, because he has a really well optimized one. If we do a search for Zohar, which right now, if we do Zamir Group, I think that'll come up. I just did a search for it the other day. Weird. That's Stacy. There we go. That's really strange. I just did a search for his the other day and it came up right away.
Okay.
But if you search just Stacy's name, and if you ever looked on like the right side of the screen here, that's your.
No, I appreciate it. Definitely a learning lesson. Just in general with spot approval.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I'm just gonna mute some people in here because
I wouldn't hang my head.
I'm just gonna mute everybody real quickly. Sorry. Just want to make sure that we can hear each other. Anyway, sorry. Going back into the Google business listing. So on the right-hand side of your screen here, this is what a Google business listing looks like. And when you set it up initially, you're going to have your basic information like the name, the location of where you're at, your hours, things like your contact information. As Google starts picking up some of the keyword searches, what it actually starts to do as well is it starts to pick up things like reviews, which people can leave here. I've seen things where pages will also apply Zillow reviews as well. So as this starts kind of living through Google, it'll actually start to kind of flesh out your business listings as well. So to get started, I'm just going to go back to Google again. Thanks, Stacy, for letting me use that. If we go back to Google, what you'll see on the screen here is a little icon. And a little icon, if you click that, that's going to be your Google Suite. So they call it the G Suite. I did a class on this probably a couple weeks back where I kind of went over some of the basic tools of the G Suite. The one of them that I didn't really touch on too much was the Google business listings, or what they're calling My Listing. Now, if you don't see this right away, the way you could activate it is you can go and just essentially Google business. And if we type that in, you'll see here the first thing that pops up is my Google My Business link. So I'm just going to click on that. And I just want to make sure I reach any of the questions in chat as well. Holly, I set up a Google business page. I did the step-by-step class in our office last year, but Google never set it up, but I keep getting calls from them every month about verifying my page. It's annoying. Interesting. Are they're requesting you to verify it by like, I know like some of them, they'll send out like a postcard, but that's weird.
Yeah, I did the postcard. I verified it with that, and then that was like 2 weeks after I set up the page. And after that, every month the people from India always call me about completing the setup on the page, and I answer all their questions, and it's still not set up.
Weird. Are you sure? Wait, are you sure that's not like it's not a scammer, right? I would hope it's not a scammer.
I hope not.
In any case, I would probably be careful, especially if you did verify it, Okay, so just to go back, we can see here, we're on my Google My Business. This is like your landing page for it. And they made it very simple to really set up. Now you see here, it says stand out on Google with a free business profile. And then basically, you know, again, what these profiles allow you to do is just kind of market yourself through Google, and it allows you to kind of connect with customers through Google. You know, they can submit reviews, they can learn more about you. And, you know, because Google is such a huge component of literally everything, having one of these pages set up is it's just beneficial to have. So what I want to do now is I want to hit this button that says manage now. And what it's going to allow me to do is it's going to take me to this page here, as you can see. So the first thing it's going to ask me to do is type in a business name. So the business name I typically suggest doing, or the one that I've been using when I've been setting up these classes, is I would use my first name. And then I would do something like sales, or we can say like, yeah, let's say sales associate at Keller Williams. Say like Town Life. What you want to do now is if you click on this button, or you just click on the text here, this is going to take you to a secondary screen. So basically it's just asking you to confirm the name of that business page. And this is going to be the name that you see when you actually Google, like if I Googled my name, for example, this would be the business profile that would pop up. And I can go back and change this at any time if I want to change how it looks. I do suggest having this dash here because that will separate these keywords, which is my name and last name. And then it would also use these as additional keywords. You can also do real estate or realtor. Those are just you got to think of like how somebody would probably Google your name. And that's typically how I try to set it up in here. Gary was asking, if you have a team, would you not suggest using that as your name? No, I would definitely, you know, I think using the name would definitely be okay. You know, I showed you like the Stacy Esser group. Zohar's team also has it set up that way, where they have the team name. So I think that's totally okay. Let's move forward. So it's going to ask me to just kind of confirm name. I can say, yes, that's fine. Now what it's going to ask me to do, it's going to ask me choose the category that fits your business best. So basically it's asking me like, what am I actually doing? What is my category? You can start by typing in real estate, and then it will give you a drop down here of just all the different types of real estate related categories. Weirdly enough, real estate agents, they don't have like a singular version. So you can just put agents. It's okay. And then you can also add additional ones if you wanted later on. So let's go ahead and hit that next button again. Now it's going to say, do you want to add a location customers can visit, like a store or office? It's going to say this location will show up on Google Maps and search when customers are looking for your business. Now with this, I typically would put no, because what it'll do is if you put your office address, it will typically ask you to have it confirmed by the actual owner of that office. So you don't want to use that option necessarily. I've run into issues with this before, where it will ask you to essentially take ownership of that location. So for example, if I was the owner of 123 Tice Boulevard, it's going to ask me specifically to give that access to another person. So if you put no here, you're just going to, it'll just allow you to put an address in that you can just use. So let's put no. And we'll hit next. So then it's going to say, where do you serve? And it does give you some nice little suggested ones, as you can see. So I can say like, okay, I'm going to serve, you know, maybe I primarily search, or I serve Richfield Park and maybe Leonia. And then maybe I also want to say, well, I do also cover Hudson County. You can put Hudson County in there as well. You could do it by counties. You can do it by towns. You can do it by zip codes, I believe. 603. Yep. But I'm just going to be more specific. I'll do like Jersey City. So you can add as many of these as you'd like. Let's go ahead and hit next. And as I'm doing this, you'll notice that little progress bar on the bottom here. It's very clean. You know, they make everything very seamless. So it's not like all in your face. Very easy setup process. Okay, so now it's going to ask me, what contact details do I want to actually show to my customers? What do I want them to be able to reach me at? Where do I want them to go if I have a website? We can just pop in my main details here, which is my phone number. And we're going to use my website address, which is my KW URL. That's okay. You can also use, I believe they do have some kind of like landing page-esque templates you can build off of Google. I haven't actually done them because I always just have my own website. But in any case you want to build out like a landing page from Google, you can do it if you want, but you can always just use your own KW URL or whichever website URL. Maybe it's a custom domain, you can use that as well. You know, all good. So let's hit next. And then you're going to ask, it's going to see here, it's going to just kind of confirm some of the information. So it's going to say finish and manage this listing. You'll be able to manage your business page on Google, promoting your business with photos and posts, tracking your business analytics, which is, I like that feature a lot. And then you can also respond to your customer reviews. Let's hit finish. Now, before it actually finishes, it brings you to a secondary screen here, which is going to ask me to verify my mailing address. This is something that I've seen agents have snag with as well. In a sense, it's going to ask you to verify your location. And I've seen it where it'll ask you to verify it, but it doesn't give you an option to do it by a phone number. It might ask you to do it with a postcard, which is super old school, but sometimes, unfortunately, it doesn't give you that option to verify without the postcard. And I cannot find a really good answer. I've done tons of Google searches and I just can't find anything on it. So if you run into that issue, unfortunately, I haven't found a good workaround yet. You know, I tried a bunch of things that kind of worked, but the one thing I did was typically if I added a suite number, it kind of helped with that. You can see here, if I do next, it might give me the option to verify. And you see here how now it's giving me an option to do it, but it has to give me a postcard. I believe, let me see if I do this. I'm gonna try one thing here. Let's try suite 502. Let's see if that changes it. No, so I think maybe they are actually just doing it by these postcards now. So basically what it would do, it would send a postcard out to your business address, which is essentially the MC. Obviously right now where we're at with our current situation, you probably just want to have it mailed to your home. And then you can verify your your business. We'll just do that later because we're just going to go through the class. So basically what's going to happen is once you are completed with your business profile, it's going to bring you to like this back end here, as you can see. It's going to say, welcome to my business page. We'll hit get started. And then you're going to see here right now, just some of the options you have available right away as you kind of come in here. As I mentioned, I don't have my profile verified right now, but I would have access to a link to send to my clients as I can get reviews. And I saw something pop up in chat here. Can you start the Google website after you have a business page? Yeah, you could if you wanted to. They do have an option right in the settings here, which is on the left-hand side, where if you wanted to build out some sort of a Google landing page, you can do it here. And I'm going to cover some of these just so we can see what they all do. Okay, so again, the middle section of this page here is going to have my just some of my shortcuts, which right now, because I'm not verified, I don't have access to. But basically, you would be able to, you know, manage some of your reviews. Business analytics can be tracked from here. Creating your promotional posts, which is essentially like your paid advertising, and allowing people to obviously find you on Google, because my thing isn't verified. It's not going to show up in Google right away. Some other stuff you're going to see here is some of the information that I would need to complete. For example, like adding my hours, descriptions, logos. I'm going to go through that when I go into this info page. I like doing it from there. So if we click on the info on the left-hand side, does this look familiar to anybody? Does this kind of feel like Command? Where if I hit this little button here, it gives you the little slide out with all the different things in it. Very similar toolbar. Very much a similar user experience. In any case, kind of got off track there. We can see here, if we go into my info page, we can additionally edit the info we inputted before. So things like the name of my business, my category. I can also change out my service areas, adding my hours, changing my numbers. This is cool. You can add appointment links. So if you're using like a calendar, you can link that calendar here. It's pretty cool. Services, you can also add things like your business description, which is essentially like an about me. And then you can also add photos, you know, your logo. I think you can also add like a headshot. Now, services is going to be connected with your category. So you see here, if I click services, my primary category is agents. And then it's going to give you some kind of like predetermined category or service rather. It says add services you offer and get discovered by customers. So appraisals. I might add additional ones like investing or, you know, whatever, staging, whatever I want to add in here. Any type of services that I might be providing. Bonnie's asking, so can you have an address of your business without it being linked to Google Maps? Yeah, so the step that I skipped where I essentially selected no, that would have been the step that I can add to have my business appear on a Google map. What that means is if I was claiming so I know like with the market center specifically, they're actually just offices within an existing building. So you can't necessarily claim that as a business address. In a sense, it won't let you claim it if somebody else is already claiming it. That's why I selected no. That way I can just put in my kind of like a mailing address, if that makes sense.
Are you putting it in that info section?
In here, you wouldn't do that. You would do that over in a section called, where is it at? Sorry, locations.
Okay, because if you put it into the info section, it's going to link to Google Maps, just like as if you had said yes, like, right? Because we just don't, we want it to be, what's the right word? Static? Is that the right word? So that the address is just there, but it doesn't link to anything.
Yeah, no, I get it.
That's what's preferred, you know, because of the example that you gave, which is obviously with us in Tice Boulevard, that's exactly what we have. We kind of like to have the address of the office, but don't want it to, you know, have that Google map show up.
Yeah, it wouldn't link to it like that.
Okay.
You would just have it as essentially, like you said, like a static location where it'll just have your address there.
Right,
It
okay,
might have it on like the Google, you know, like if I Google any address, it'll be like that, but it's not going to be like it won't be listed as an actual business on the map. It'll just be listed as a like a location, basically. That's why it says manage locations.
got it. Thank you.
Because it's not verified, I obviously can't have it appear anywhere yet. So, but once you have it verified, that's how it would essentially generate your listing. I just saw a couple other things pop up as well. Just want to answer those. Here we go. If I wanted to add 2 locations, I would do it in manage locations. Yeah, that's correct. You would do that there. So right under here where it says, let me close that out. Under manage locations, you can pop one in there. Good question. All right, so that's the info screen. It's very straightforward. Now you can also add additional content, kind of like, let me click out of that. It's kind of like very similar to, you know, if you're setting up a Facebook post or something, where I can essentially share out content like open house information, videos, post about new listings. The tip that I've been hearing from just kind of like what other people are doing and what's kind of like the best practices is Google really likes when you take advantage of their products. So if you guys remember when we had Google Plus, they were giving people like a lot more priority if they were using Google Plus versus not using it. So like they would give you higher SEO because you were using Google Plus, which we obviously know didn't turn out to be the forefront for social media anymore. But yeah, they were really trying to push that for a while, and I hated it personally. And I just thought it was like, you know, like it was whatever. So, but they were doing, what they were doing was essentially helping people out who were using that. So that's why I like to say that like having these set up would really be beneficial for you. And it is free, you're not paying for it. And it's just something to really kind of help boost out your appearance on the internet. The one thing I mentioned before, which I unfortunately can't show right now because I'm not verified, is my insights. And if you're familiar with any of like the insights that Google Analytics would give you, it's a very similar experience to that. So who's doing a search for my name? What type of keywords are they using? Where are they coming from? What's their age range? What type of pages are they kind of clicking into from the search? Those are the types of analytics you would get from this page here. And those are super helpful, especially if you're going to be putting together things like Facebook advertising, because then that will give you an idea of like specific locations maybe you should be targeting, or the type of interest the person doing a search for you might have. It does give you some of that outlined in here. You can also additionally create a Google Analytics account, but I think having it in here is totally fine. Then we have our reviews, which again, if I have my reviews set up here, I would have a list of all the reviews that I was currently receiving. You can kind of manage them in here. One of the cool things I do like about this particular reviews system is that when you have the account verified, you can actually get like a little short link that you can share to your clients and or your colleagues or whomever. They can actually leave a review for you because that link will just link them right directly to your Google listing page, your Google business page. So that's very nice. Messaging I haven't really used in here, but it does allow you to kind of speak with your customers directly. I feel like this would be more so for like e-commerce type things. So I don't know how much you would be using it, but it is available for you if you preferred. Jennifer, did you have a question? I thought I saw something pop up from you.
No, I did not.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm just going to keep moving down the list here. Not too much more to go through, but photos, basically this is where I can upload content. So things like my identity, team photos at work. These would just be some photos I can also add. You can also add video content, my logos, cover images. And I believe it will also populate photos from any posts you make as well. So if you're making any posts in here, they would also, like if you ever Google the name and you see all like the little photos under that business profile, those are the types of images that would appear there. We're not going to go through products because that's basically just for like e-commerce. Services, again, I kind of touched on that a little while ago. This is going to be like where I can add what type of services I can provide or I do provide rather. And these will essentially become like keywords as well, as you can see. Like it's going to use real estate agents as the primary category, but then I can also add additional types of services that I would be doing, like appraisals or you know, maybe I specifically focus on commercial listings or luxury or new construction, whatever. These can be things you can put into your services. Super useful. I mentioned websites very briefly as well. I'm not going to really go through it, but that would be a way that you can kind of build out like this little kind of like a landing page for Google. Again, those are like the tools that Google would want you to use, but you're not actually required to. Yeah, Luann, you could. I would say I would just make sure they're your photos for sure. But if you're doing like listing posts, like for example, if I'm doing just like like a post in here and I'm going to be doing it around a new listing or open house, you can do that. Yeah, I've done them with some agents before. And in users, this is just a way to give additional access. So if you have like an admin or something who's going to be essentially handling this for you, this is a good way to invite them into it as like a permission role. And this was something I've been asked a lot too, like how can I invite somebody in here? And I find this really nice because you might not necessarily want to give somebody access to your Google account because this is connected with your Google account. So being able to just invite them into it to essentially have some sort of admin privilege, that might be more beneficial than giving them complete access to your Google account, unless you want to. And then you also have a few additional features in here, which includes my Google Ads. You can request a custom Gmail. So if you wanted a custom URL for your Gmail, like, you know, whatever your business name is, you can do that here. I can't recall if there's a price involved with that. I think there is, but I don't actually know. Sorry. Sorry about that. Manage locations, we kind of covered that as well. Verifying location, again, because my account isn't verified yet, it's going to have this as an option. And then linked accounts. These would just be additional pages that I might manage that I want to have linked here. You can see here AdWords or Merchant Center. I don't actually use any of that stuff, so that's not something I would have in here. Okay, does anybody have any questions so far? I think, did something pop up in chat? Let me just take a look. Oh, thanks. Yeah, $6 a month. So that was an answer from chat. So $6 a month will get you a custom Gmail email account. Very nice. Yeah, I mean, that would essentially cover the basics of this. Does anybody have any questions in regards to what I was doing? Nothing. Yeah, I wish I could I can show you what it actually looks like when it's completed. unfortunately mine isn't verified right now. But basically, as I mentioned, if this was verified, I would have a few additional options for me to use, which would be the short link for my reviews. I can then use it to create advertising, so like paid advertising, managing reviews, insights, just some of the things I'd be able to do from my verified account. Okay, yeah, this wasn't meant to be like a very, very long class because I think we covered mostly what I wanted to cover, but if anybody had any other questions, I can definitely answer them for you, or try to at least. All right.
Just to repeat what you said, as
Yeah.
far as Google, if we do some Google ads, they're going to probably put us up a little higher. When you say SEO, I forget what that stands for.
SEO is short for search engine optimization. So it's essentially a way that Google kind of indexes your content. So the better optimized your content is, which is essentially basing it off of keywords, phrases, names. It uses that to essentially boost up your location in their search results. So like if I Googled my name, for example, you'll notice that a lot of the things that I have pop up first are going to be things like my website or my LinkedIn page or some of my Facebook stuff or Instagram. These are all because it's been optimized well, and that's why it's appearing up here first. Now, if I had a business profile set up specifically for me, which I don't right now for my personal self, that would appear over here as well. I don't have any actual, it's not necessary for me, but if I had one set up, I would have something here like my reviews or information about like myself.
So what if you want people to come to you and not just by your name? Like, what if you want people to come to you because they're looking for houses in Bergen County? So what would be the best to use the words Bergen County, New Jersey, or something like that?
Yeah, it would be like some of the things you put into your service areas.
Okay.
It might be some stuff you put into your business description as well. That could be like, oh, I'm a 20-year licensed real estate agent who is specializing in the Bergen, Hudson, and let's say Essex counties. And then I can say I've been licensed with Keller Williams for however many years, and I specialize in commercial, residential, whatever, rentals. So these can just be additional keywords that you can pop into your business description.
Okay. That sounds good. And then if you do a lot of ads on, I'm sorry, that's my dog, a lot of ads on Google, does that also put you higher up? Does that make you more?
I think that, yeah, I would definitely say Google likes when you use their stuff. So like if you're using their ad products, they probably will help you out a lot more. Unfortunately, I don't have like the most extensive experience with Google ads. I just know like they aren't necessarily difficult to set up, and maybe that's another class I can do, specifically with the AdWords stuff. I've done like additional ads that actually run through websites, and they are a little bit more complicated. So I don't know if I would do that one right away, but maybe even doing just like an AdWords, because Command has some of the AdWord functionality too. So maybe that's something we can have set up in a class coming soon, if anybody is interested in that.
Definitely.
Cool. All right. Yeah, so I mean, that would definitely cover it. Again, if anybody has any additional questions, I'll definitely answer them here. And I have this recorded, so I will be posting this to YouTube later on. Saw something pop up in chat here. Thanks, no worries. All right, cool. So yeah, I think that would be I think that would be it. Again, just want to thank everybody for coming out, and you can always reach me through text or email, whatever. Rosa's asking if we'll be doing a YouTube class. Are you talking about like YouTube on how to like upload videos or how to use YouTube in general? To answer that, we did actually do a YouTube class not that long ago, but we could set up another one if that's something you guys are all interested in. Looks like we have a couple requests for it.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we can get something set up like that. Awesome. All right. Thanks again for everybody for coming out, especially on a late afternoon. I know it's kind of close to 5 now. So again, anybody who wants to ask me any other questions, you can reach me through email or text or Facebook. I'm sure most of you have me on Facebook at this point. And hope everybody has a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.
Thank you.
Have a good night.